Prof was recently bestowed with an honorary doctorate by Bristol University in the United Kingdom. To celebrate her achievements this Women's Month, she joins us via Skype and to discuss many other things that she's passionate about. A very good morning to you, Prof, and thank you so much for making the time. We know you have another event to rush to. So let's just say, start off by saying congratulations on your honorary doctorate. Being a woman academic in this male-dominated area, how are you feeling about this achievement?
Thank you so much, Des. It's a really wonderful acknowledgement, especially from outside South Africa, because oftentimes when we get recognized in South Africa as black women, there's a discourse that goes around that we are just quota, that it's about transformation, it's not about our excellence. So when the world stands up and says, we recognize your excellence, we recognize your outstanding contribution, it says I hope it says to doubting Thomases in our country that we are not just transformation candidates. We are not EE appointees, as they call us. We are the real deal, and the world knows that. So that's what it means to me. It's a wonderful recognition. The fact that I haven't gotten that recognition at home, for me, is irrelevant. It is important that a leading university, one of the top 50 universities in the world, says to my country and my continent, you have a leader amidst you, and we recognize them for their contribution to the discipline.
You know, Oprah Winfrey says that whenever she walks into a room where she's possibly the only black person or the only woman in that room, she never walks in alone. She always brings in tens and thousands of other women who are striving to change things around the world. What is the situation of women in academia in South Africa? Is it getting better?
Well, you know, the truth is that on the surface, in some places, it may look like it's getting better. But in my view, it's not getting better at all. Because here's the thing, you know, black women in this country have to fight to get the recognition, to get the positions. Once you get the position, another big war starts. Because, first of all, you are seen to have been made a favor. And every obstacle is put along your path to make it difficult for you to succeed. And so what we call success sometimes is the numbers. People say, well, there are so many women professors, and that's important. The numbers are important. But the numbers in and of themselves say nothing about the success, because once the women come in, whether they become professors, whether they come into academia, I can tell you that the obstacles are huge. They are huge for me in my position as VC. People think I have all the power and all the control, and you have no idea what one has to deal with. You can imagine the people who are lower in the hierarchy. The difficulties are hard. When you're a black woman, oftentimes you are mistaken to be a secretary. Oftentimes you have to prove yourself, not only among your peers, but even among other people who may be support staff who have no confidence in you. So you have a big task to prove that people like you can succeed, people like you deserve the job, and people like you can do the job. So it's a very difficult thing. So what we count as success, my view is that we've got to start looking at what do we count as success. And when we get to a point where we say success, what is it? So the numbers may be shifting, and they're shifting very slowly. Yeah. But the treatment is not changing.
What you're talking about is a crisis of credibility for women. And academia is one area where conversations are held about societal issues. One woman who's facing a crisis of credibility right now is Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, who is the public protector in the country. What kind of conversations are taking place in academia about this unfolding story in our country, and also about how it may move away, shift away the focus on things such as education to other conversations?
You know, I want to move away from the Mkhwebane issue, because the Mkhwebane issue is not just about Mkhwebane, it's about many other issues that are political. And I don't think we can discuss the issue of Mkhwebane without getting into the political. And you would also have to ask about other women in the space and their own opposite opposite tribes. What do you say about the situation of Shamila Batoy? And there are many other women. What do you say about Tuli? What do we say about many other women? And my view is that we've got to get focused. I get a sense these days it's very depressing in our country. I'm sorry to say on Women's Day that the contestations that are taking place are not focusing on the real issues. It's almost like we as African people are now fighting about the crumbs on the floor that fell off the table, when we should actually be looking at the table itself. Who is at the table? Who designs the table? Who feeds people at the table? And I think we've got to focus on education. If we focus on education and you get people with credibility, we have to make sure that those people succeed. That's not to say we as women have got no responsibility to be ethical, to be moral, to have integrity, and to do work of high quality. We have that responsibility. And that responsibility is for all of us, not just black women. But when we have women who distinguish themselves like that, who don't play into any party politics, there are many black women, many of us who are not in any party politics. We don't even answer the conversation. The newspaper articles are not even interested in us. They're interested in Kobani because it's a political debate. In many ways, it's a debate about men and men in power, and not about women and women who are making a difference, who are not contributing to any political powers and playing into them or contributing to whatever debate. It's almost like you've got to say, I support this power or not that power, and somehow you will get attention. We've got to focus on things that matter. Our country needs attention. We need leadership in this country. We don't need it only in the public sector. We need it in our public sector entities. We need it in our public institutions, universities, SOEs, and so on and so forth. And we've got to pay attention to where that leadership is happening. We've got to foreground it. We've got to showcase it. And we've got to ask what is working, what is not working. As a woman, black woman, BC, I run a university. I've got to raise funds for the university. Who looks at me with trust and says, you deserve support and we will support you, rather than unlike the way they did in the past. Like in the past, my predecessor is a white man. Does have the perspectives of the funders changed? You know, we've got to ask that. Are black business people coming up to say, now we've got a black woman running at the top university on the continent, we're going to support them, we're going to make sure that they succeed, we're going to give funding to make sure that as they drive the transformation agenda, it happens. Let me tell you, that doesn't happen. You've got to win the trust, you don't win it easily, questions are asked, and you are also called a quota buffoon by others. And so I want us to get out of the politics of party politics and get into the public institutions and look at how we enable those to run, especially the ones that are already on an upward trajectory, and we can make sure that they succeed. Don't just look at the history as to who has set them up. Look at they're serving black students. You cried for transformation. Now you have it. The black leader is under pressure to deliver on transformation. We cannot deliver on transformation without support. We cannot deliver on transformation without financial support, because we've got to make sure that things happen. I can tell you that at the moment, if I have the bank balance that's required, I would look. There are departments that I've looked at in my university, and I say, we don't have a black person in this department. The time for retirement of the people who are in this department who are brilliant, but they are not black, it's going to take 10 to 20 years for some of them to retire. I would like to put 2 professorships in each of those departments and recruit top black South Africans or black professors anywhere in the world to come into those departments, and because for their presence in that department, we will gain credibility with our students. They will help transform the space and institutional culture. And you can't just do that by putting a transformation agenda on the table, but you can do that with funding, because some people are there, they're saying, we're willing to come. Do you have a position? I don't have a position, but I don't have funding. And we need that kind of support.
You raise many important points there, but one of them is that fundraising is a reality for many sectors of our community, especially when we're looking at development, and is also important in the area of academia. How do we get South Africans to interact or engage with the conversations around fundraising and what it is meant to do?
I think we've got to start with corporates. We've got to start with corporates and say, when you give to social SCI, what do you give to? Who leads those entities? Who are on the board? We've got to have boardrooms asking those questions. And in the past, there used to be a question that says, well, the NGOs are run by these people, universities are run by these people, these are the people that we've got to give. We've got to see, because the ground is shifting, institutions are changing, they're transforming, we've got to start saying, now that the leadership has changed in these institutions, how are you making sure that those institutions that are appointing black people, you are enabling those black people to succeed? Otherwise, we are setting black leaders, black women leaders for failure. At the moment, there's just 3 of us, black women vice-chancellors. In fact, women vice-chancellors in this country. Myself, Professor Mutwa, and Professor Toko Maekiso in Mpumalanga. The 3 of us. We don't win the amount of success and support that our male colleagues win. We've got to get this. We've got to get some businesses that says we are willing to support black women vice-chancellors. We want to see what they're doing. We want to partner with them. Whether Nelson Mandela University was a previously white university, UCT was a previous, it is run by black women. They want to change the stage. They want to change the institution. They cannot change it if you don't come in. If you just burden them by the history of the institution, then they will fail. And so you will continue to build a narrative that says you give a black woman and the leadership of the institution, they will never succeed. Sort of UCT was better when it was run by a white man. Now that you've given it to a black woman, they are not succeeding. But in fact, if they don't get the support that they used to get, that the institution, they will never succeed.
Of course they won't succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Prof, it is said that South Africa gives a huge chunk of its GDP to education, yet we're still beset by issues such as poor levels of literacy. You were talking at giving a speech recently at the Tsietsi Mashinini Memorial Lecture, where you spoke about the need for us to be multilingual. What will it take for us to have a deeper level of education that takes us to another level in the world and helps us to be competitive?
You know, first of all, we have to start believing in excellence. We as African people have to buy into the idea of excellence. That excellence has to happen, whether our history was bad or not. Apartheid education or not, we've got to say, now we are in power. How do we use the opportunity that we have as teachers? Whether I'm a grade 1 teacher, whether I'm a grade 12 teacher, how do I use this opportunity that I have to change what is? And the issue of saying the language of learning and teaching in our schools is not favorable to our learners is a real issue. But here's the thing. Even if we change the language of learning and teaching to an African language, if our teachers are not committed, nothing is going to happen. So we've got to do these things multi-pronged. We've got to say, what are the language challenges? And at the Tsietsi Mashinini lecture, what I did was to argue for this idea that we need our young people to have access to English, because access to English gives them access to many other social goods. But you do not do access to English at the expense of African languages. These two things do not have to be in competition. They can work together. And that's why I talked about a multilingual approach to mathematics teaching and learning. That we've got to be brave as African leaders and say, We are driving excellence. We want all our publishers, you must publish books, bilingual books. A book in English and Zulu English and Pedi English and so on. And in our classrooms, we're going to allow our teachers, in fact, encourage them to teach and engage with our learners in languages that they understand as they introduce them to English. Question papers are going to come in English and the learner's home language, so that the learner is not stuck at the English and they can't even ask what it says in the African language because they're ashamed that they will be said not to be smart enough. We've got to do that bravely. And then we've got to say to teachers, there you are. You've got the linguistic support in class. Do your job excellently. For a teacher to do their job excellently, first of all, they must show up for class. You cannot do an excellent job if you are never in class. First of all, you must show up. Every day, on time, on task, focused and prepared. Think about this. If every teacher taught excellently, did their excellent job, and told themselves that they are building leaders of tomorrow, in fact, we would have a problem of a different kind. A problem of having children who are exceptional, have leadership qualities, and they're looking for opportunities, and we don't know where to put them. At the moment, we are not showing up that way. Internationally, our learners show up in theory. Of course, there's a bit of improvement in the last team's results, but we can do better than this. And I like challenging myself that I want to do better, and I want our people to do better. So as a people, we've got to commit ourselves as African people to do the excellence that we have always expected and complained that our oppressors never gave us quality education. And quality education is not just about resources that you get in your classroom. It's also about the quality of your teaching and how prepared you are for your learners.
You have been known to do the graveyard shift, especially with the first-year students at UCT, in order to encourage them to study and do their work. What sense are you getting? For all the times that you've gone through to spend time with them, are you getting a sense, especially with this complaint that millennials don't necessarily know how to go out and get things for themselves? They always want to be handheld. What information have you been able to gather in these interactions?
I get a different sense. I mean, the millennial generation, they really, I say to them all the time, they are so much more advanced than I was at their age. They are go-getters, and of course they live in an age where information is accessible. It's accessible, it's in their fingertips, and so they are well informed. And I'm talking about the young people that I'm exposed to in universities, and I'm not only interacting with students at UCT. They are go-getters. Actually, my biggest challenge at UCT is to showcase the excellence of our students, their entrepreneurial spirits, the way they're pushing boundaries. The number of businesses on our campus is huge. I mean, we've got so many entrepreneur initiatives that students start themselves without having been prompted. And so the idea that they want to be handheld all the time is not true. You know, our young people, what they are asking for, especially black Africans, what they're asking for is, I don't want to worry about funding. That's what they're saying. They're saying, I don't want to worry about funding. Please pay my fees so that I can focus on the things that I need to do whilst I'm here, because I want to make the most of the opportunity. Okay? One student sent me a message yesterday and said to me, you know, I'm burdened, Prof. I've got a debt. I've got my engineering degree to get. And I also want to develop good leadership skills, because I know that I have an opportunity whilst I'm at university. She's concerned that she wants to develop leadership skills, learn how to do community service even better, and get her degree. And she says, and I'm spending time looking for funding to cover my debt. We've got our postgraduate diploma students who are not covered by NSFAS, who are saying, just fund us so that we can focus. So when people hear students asking for financial support, black students asking for financial support, they're saying, you know, they're entitled, they are this, they are that, they want to be handheld. But actually, for me, being on the ground, what the students are asking for is that please take care of this financial burden so that we can focus on the things that matter for us as working class students, because actually that's what students should be focusing on. We must remember middle class and upper middle class students don't have the burden of worrying about funding and whatever. And that's why they succeed easily. So I have a different experience.
Prof, just in wrapping up our conversation, it's Women's Month. Every year it's a different emphasis and there are different societal issues coming up. What's the most outstanding societal issue or focus that you think this Women's Month should be looking at?
You know, for this Women's Month, my focus has been it is not enough for women to get positions in power, positions of power or of opportunity. We've got to support them. And I say to women, when you are in a boardroom and you are with other women and you see one woman being bullied, speak up, stand up, because today is that woman, tomorrow it will be you. Men who are our allies, I'm asking you, if you are in a boardroom, you see a woman being bullied, stand up and speak up, because this behavior of bullying in boardrooms, in different environments of women will not stop. And if we don't stop it, we will never be able to deal with gender-based violence and the shortage of women in positions of leadership.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much, Des. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng, who is the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Town.